and I was starting to do a little bit of writing work for Marvel, doing like more writing for Marvel Age, and was sort of getting myself into that path. But along comes the summer of, I want to say the summer of '94, but it might be sooner than that. But people start coming into the store and asking for Magic, and I was the game guy, right? I've always been a board gamer. I've always been a role player. And so I was the game guy at the store. And so people were like, oh, ask Brian. And people would ask me. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I assumed somehow it was tied to White Wolf. I assumed it was like part of that, World of Darkness stuff. I was like, maybe that's what it is. And they're like, no, people get mad. And then finally some guy like picked me up. I've told this story before, but picked me up by my like lapels. I always wore a blazer even back then. And like shook me. And like I'm like banging into the Warhammer minis, like just stabbing me in the back. And then he just like kind of drops me and he storms off. Why can't I find this fucking game? Just really mad. And everyone in the store is like, oh my God, should we call the cops? Should we like, no, we should call our distributor right now. We need to find out what Magic is. And so that was just as Unlimited was about to come out, as it turns out. So that's when this is. I don't know. I don't remember when Unlimited came out. And we couldn't get any. But the Complete Strategist, which is a game store that's been in the city for 50 years, as of this year, right? They opened in 1975 in New York. It was where you would go to get your role-playing games, where you'd go to get your war games, where you'd go to get your miniature games. And then in 1994, it was where you would go to get your Magic the Gathering. And they had Unlimited. And I bought 2 Unlimited starters and 4 boosters, which I think was what I was able to buy. And my friend group all also bought similar. One of the first cards I opened, I opened a Mox Pearl and I opened an Ancestral, whatever. I opened a Shivan Dragon. Ooh. And an Unlimited Shivan Dragon is about as pretty a Magic card as exists. I love that card, that the color saturation, the white border, the whole bit. It just, is tattooed on my brain. And so, we started carrying Magic at the store. Pretty soon, we were carrying, I don't think we were able to get Legends, but, and then I became friends with someone at the store because we would sell packs and we would buy packs and sell them marked up. We would do, whatever we could. I started to become friends with a guy who was a judge, this guy, Tony Perotti. And Tony was on the internet.
Welcome. You've got mail.
That was the big deal. Tony was on the internet. But Tony was the first person I knew who had the Duelist Convocation International rules. And so we started talking about that. And then someone ran a tournament down at the South Street Seaport. And they got like 32 people. It's like, holy shit, 32 people showed up to play Magic. And then a friend of mine ran an event on Staten Island. One of the people that was in that group of friends that had picked up those cards initially. And he ran a tournament on Staten Island and he got like, I think 90 people. I'm like, wow, this is cool. But like nobody knew what they were doing, talking to Tony about it. He was like, they had no idea about the rules. It was a mess. It was this, it was that. So I was like, wow, we should run a tournament, right? Again, that events background. It's like, we should run an event. And so in November of '94, we bought an Arabian Nights set as our prize. We had some dark packs as second place or something like that. And we ran in this footage, you can find this footage. And we got like, 200 people, right? Like it was crazy. Like we had no idea what we were doing. It was awesome, right? We figured it out, obviously. And then we ran another event and we had 1,000 people in February. And we got hammered by the hotel because we couldn't get people to leave.
You just heard a clip from the most recent episode of the History on Film podcast. For more of this episode and access to all our episodes, search for the History on Film podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Pandora. Don't forget to like and subscribe the channel here on YouTube. Thanks for listening.